Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so nice to hear all your voices. Yes, thank you, Caroline. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Gosh, I love hearing all you guys talking all this. It's just fabulous. It's exactly what we're looking for. All right. So first I'm Theresa Reid. I'm the chair of the Washtenaw County Downs. I can do a lot of things, but I can't get my glasses on. Okay. I'm going to start by reading the MDP land acknowledgement. Washtenaw County occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. The Washtenaw County Democratic Party recognizes historic indigenous communities in Michigan and those who were forcibly removed from their homelands. Washtenaw County occupies land ceded in the 1807 Treaty of Detroit. We further recognize the ongoing relationship of, dependence upon, and respect for all living beings of earth, sky, and water. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous sovereignty, history, and experiences. Thank you to the Anishinaabe Caucus of the Michigan Democratic Party for bringing that beautiful statement to us. First of all, I want to welcome all the newcomers here. Lots of new faces. It's so great to see you. Raise your hand if you're a newcomer and want to be known. Wonderful. Name?
Luke.
Luke. Wonderful. So glad you're here. What brought you here?
I think it's an important year and I'm really hoping I can help.
Wonderful. That's great. Right in front of you. Yes, indeed. Right in front of you is Janet Cannon, who's chair of the precinct organizing committee. And out in the hallway welcoming everybody is Sharon Simonton, who is co-chair of the membership committee and the volunteer coordinator. So she probably already chatted you up, but it's great to meet you, Luke. Who else? Who else is new?
I've got a mic for everybody. There.
Oh, thanks.
Luke was loud enough.
Luke was loud. Thank you, Luke. Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jean? Well, do you want to say who you're going to share your name?
My name is Guy Hodge. I've seen it on Facebook. I thought I was probably.
Ooh, Jeremy, did you hear that? Jeremy, we saw it on Facebook. Thank you. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Jean.
My name is Gene Ragland, and I'm a retired physician. I practiced medicine at St. Joe for 28 years and in total 30 years. And I was involved with Jerry Clayton because we had a service that provided medical care to the inmates. And so we used to work out together at the Chippewa Club with one of his deputies, and then he became involved with the medical side of it. And you mentioned the indigenous population, and just to let you know, Joy Harjo is going to be at Central Michigan University on the 11th, on the 12th of March. And she was the poet laureate of the United States.
Yeah, the great poet.
So I would encourage you to consider coming up for that event.
Wonderful, wonderful. Maybe you can send me that information. Send it to info@washtenaw.dems. I'll get it in the calendar. Thanks, that's great. I don't know you guys. Are you also new? Do I know you? Oh, I'm embarrassed if I didn't know.
I'm new.
You're new. Wonderful.
My name is Liz Geisner, and I recently moved to Ann Arbor.
Oh gosh, welcome. Welcome. We're so happy that you're here. Thank you. This is, as you know, the most, again, it's the most important election of our lifetimes. But this one, like, for real. Want to see? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keisa B. Johnson. I've been the resident of Washtenaw County for like 4 years. I'm also the chair of the Washtenaw County Food Policy Council. And so I'm here to listen and support equity and what that looks like and how we can make it work.
Wonderful. We're so happy you're here. And behind you, Keisha, what's your name again? Keisha? Keisha? Huh? Keisha. Okay.
Good morning. I am Tamara Garwood. I'm the magistrate for the 15th District Court here in Ann Arbor. And I haven't been to a meeting in a long time because we have court every day of the year in Washtenaw County. And it falls on me to be over at the Service Center on the first Saturday of each month. So that's usually where I am. But I'm very happy to be here today.
Wow, we're so happy that you're here. And that, would you?
Yeah, no, I'm Trish Riley. I've actually been a member for a while, but I work at the Washtenaw County Clerk's office doing elections. So I kind of be a more, yep. It's a little busy year for us, so yay. But I'm also running for Pittsfield Township Supervisor.
Yeah.
So I'm getting more engaged. I want to make sure I, get a pulse on things and get more active. So thank you.
Yeah, great, Trish. Great to have you here. There's a candidate over here, but first I want to make sure you guys are new, right? It's great to see you here. No, I've seen you before. You're a friend. You're an old friend. Justin.
Give him the mic.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Say hi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh McAllister. Just a local resident of West Willow. Nice to see everyone. I think I know pretty much everybody here, it seems like. So,
Great. You were at the kickoff, I think,
yes, ma'am.
right? For the YDW. Yeah, wonderful. Great to meet you. Do you want to say a word? All right, I understand. Anybody else? Have we missed anybody? It is so great to welcome you new people. Hill Harper, you want to stand up? Hill is a candidate for the U.S. Senate seat in the primary. Hill, it's so great to see you.
Hey, everybody, we called each other today to wear the same color. I'm Hill Harper, Democratic candidate for United States Senate. Great to be here. Great to be back here.
Great to have you, Hill. So glad that you're here. Electeds, would you please raise your hands? This is a good place to come to meet your electeds, people. Everybody look around. Everybody, these are all your electeds. So nice. Yeah, thank you, Hill. These folks are why we have such a good government here in Washtenaw County and the state, and we're who got them where they are today. So yay, all of us. Okay, let's see, what else do I have? Here I go with my glasses again. I want to welcome everybody who's here with us online too. Welcome everybody in the Zoom room. Oh yes, the last group I wanted to mention is the executive board members. Stand up. The executive members, just stand up. What a team. Congratulations. This is another group that just keeps this place going. It's just incredible. Any other candidates that we want to say hi to? Any other electeds? All right. All right.
Want to highlight the precinct delegates?
Precinct delegates, you're important. Wave. I'm a These are the foot soldiers, as you know. These are the foot soldiers. So we're expecting to see Debbie Dingell anytime. She's coming over from Dexter Forum. And we're looking for Hester Wheeler. Yeah, Mary.
You were asking for other candidates. I just wanted to let folks know that I will be running for co-chair of the Ann Arbor Democratic Party, and we will be having our election in March. So I would love your support, and I would love for you all to come out to support us.
Okay. Say it again with the mic. Sorry, because the friends online are going to be able to hear you with that.
My name is Mary Hall Jam, and I'm also the VP, one of the co-vice chairs for outreach and engagement. And I want to announce my candidacy that I will be running for co-chair of the Ann Arbor Democratic Party. Our election will be the second Saturday in March, and I would welcome all of your support. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mary. Any other? Doreen?
Good morning. I think most of you know me. I'm Corrine Moore. I am the Director of Conviction Integrity at the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office over with Ellie Savitt. And there we do innocence work. We do expungement work. I'm also formerly a juvenile referee, judicial attorney for the Michigan Department of Civil Rights. Hill's waving at me. So, and before that, I was on the ground with legal services, and I've represented over 1,000 low-income community members for free on the ground right here in Washtenaw County. And I am excited to announce my candidacy for 15th District Court Judge. I know we're all a little disappointed that I didn't get the Court of Appeals appointment. That went to the governor's second in command on her legal team. That happens. That's how the appointment game works. We keep going. Access to justice is a movement. If I'm called to be closer to the people, that's where I will be. That's where I have the most experience. So I'm excited. I've got petitions. Come on down if you're in the city of Ann Arbor. I need your signature. You're welcome to circulate. Let's talk. All right.
All right. I'd like to see if any other candidates. Yeah. Justin, you're getting your steps in.
Good thing my ankle's not broken anymore.
You need your mic, you need the mic for the Zoom room. Yeah.
So again, good morning. I'm Tamara Garwood. As I said, I'm the magistrate for the 15th District Court. And much like Corrine, I am also running for the 15th District Court judge position that has just opened. I currently sit in that court. I've been there for just shy of 8 years, and I've been a lawyer for just shy of 25 years, both in May of this year. That time will turn over. And in my time on the bench, I have really had an exceptional opportunity to see the changes on the bench that you can make for any person who comes before you. Little things, giving them information, giving them a chance to be heard. And so I've really had an opportunity to experience what will be experienced at the next level as a judge. And so I look forward to that opportunity. I have petitions. You cannot sign both of our petitions because it's for the same position. If you'd like to sign my petition, I'd be pleased to have you. I'm happy to talk to anybody about my qualifications and experience. And again, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Glad you're here. Barb, do you want to say anything? I'm very happy. Remind me of the name of your pack, because I'm just thinking Michigan women.
It's called
Myers. She said she didn't want to talk.
Good morning, I'm Barb Fuller. I'm chair of your Washtenaw County Road Commission and also
Thank you.
Founder of My List, which is a political action committee to promote pro-choice Democratic win into state and local office.
So yay, thank you, Barb. Yeah, so I've got Derek Jackson, who is a candidate also for sheriff. I don't think also, but I mean also a candidate this time for sheriff. Derek, you want to speak? He's on. He's on.
Oh, I'm like, where else?
Hi, everyone. Thank you all. Sorry, I'm on my way to you, beautiful folks. I will see you soon, but I'm in my car now. I'm Derek Jackson, police officer, and for the last 15 years, I've been the director at the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office. Our great Sheriff Jerry Clayton decided to retire, and with his support, we are pushing forward to do some of the great work for the last years involved and take the next step. And so, again, I'll see you shortly, and would love to be able to talk to some of the people in the room that I do not know after the meeting. Thanks for the time.
Great. Drive safely. Des.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning. Desiree Simmons. Hi, Kisa. So good to see you. So I am on City Council in Ward 3, and yesterday a group of residents turned in petitions to recall me. So I know. But so I'm here just to put that out because we will likely have an election in May. So I will be on the ballot as the Democratic nominee. And I'm really excited for the opportunity. So folks who are in the city of Ypsilanti, Ward 3, you'll see me on the ballot and I'll see you out and about. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dad. And speaking of voting, what election is going on right now? Presidential primary. Does it matter?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because we want to show the pundits how foolish they are, how they do not have their finger on our pulse. We're going to stun them with our turnout to vote for the president. So just so you know, that's on the ballot. If you haven't gotten your ballot, if you don't know how to vote, it's actually in the newsletter, our newsletter last week, the week before, the week before, and of course at your clerk's office. Now, I just want to say a word.
There's 9 days early voting as well.
Yes, right.
You
Yes.
can get all the sites that are all around.
It's fantastic. It's incredible. We have so much access. This is one of the sites. Great. Our Congresswoman is here right now. Debbie, are you in a hurry?
I think Janet wants to say something.
Who does?
We're gonna be real quick.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Question for Trish, for the early voting, do Washtenaw County residents, can we go to Ann Arbor sites? Do we have to go only to the county run sites?
So it's,
Now, hold on.
I know.
Hold on.
Sorry. So it's a little bit tricky in the sense that if you are an Ann Arbor City voter, they have separate sites for your early voting. Washtenaw County is doing all of the other jurisdictions besides Bridgewater, Milan City. Everybody else is doing sort of a regional thing. So this location here is for anyone who's in Washtenaw County, who's not in Ann Arbor City, Milan City, or Bridgewater. And it's township. Oh, it's township. You're right. It's a township together owns too. Sorry about that one. That one pulled up last minute. Yeah, so those will be a central location. There'll be regional locations. So Pittsfield Township will have York, Saline City, Saline Township. So you want to look on the website to make sure where your central location is going to be. But if you're in Ann Arbor City, they have separate locations. But again, it's all on the website, and you should all have gotten a postcard that says where your locations are on election day, and then also your regional locations.
Website?
Well, the Washtenaw County, so it's washtenaw.org/elections. Or Ann Arbor City will have their own too, so yeah.
Yeah, that washtenaw.org/elections. I'll put it up there. Congresswoman? She's been busy. Yeah, she's there. Oh, boy. Hi.
Thank you, Theresa. Doesn't she do a good job at Washington? Oh, we do. We need to, it's a lot of hard work, and I quite frankly can't remember such a stressful time. So we got to thank each other and support each other too. So I think I could talk about many things, but I think I'm going to split it into two subjects. Go political first and then do substantive. I worked with Carl Levin for more than 30 years to get Michigan, or to get a state that reflects the diversity of the country, moved up to be one of the early primaries. So we have an early primary, presidential primary, which you guys were talking about where you can start voting. And you can start voting now. I forgot to wear my I voted button today. Have filled out my absentee and it is gone. But we got to make sure people turn out. We are going to start to see candidates come in. You saw the president here on Thursday. You're going to see the vice president will be in the state, cabinet officials, surrogates, people who have ideas for, where you think surrogates should go. I don't know the best way to can we send those to Theresa? Is that a good way to do it? You can send them to me, but I think we should have an organized process. And I'm working with Ed Duggan is the Biden State Party Chair, but I'm going to tell you, quite frankly, I ran over here from Dexter Forum, which is what I do every time we have the meeting. And Marianne Williamson found Dexter Forum. And Dean Phillips is coming. And I think we're going to see other candidates. And I obviously have a candidate, someone I've known for a long time, but I welcome other people coming in, because the whole purpose of having a state like ours, where the issues that are going to matter are the issues that are going to matter in November, and we want to see candidates discuss all those issues and talk about them up front, instead of having two small states like Iowa and New Hampshire that don't reflect the diversity, and their issues are not ones that are going to be the issues that decide November. And I'm going to say to you point blank, one of the biggest issues in November is going to be one of the biggest issues that we have right now in the state of Michigan, and that's the Mideast, which I'll go to in a minute. But we want to help organize, I think it's been such a crazy time, and everybody's tiptoeing around everybody. We need to make sure we get a strong turnout. And I want to say one other thing that I have said to everybody. I'm in a very competitive mood right now. I even said it to the President of the United States in front of Gary Peters and Debbie. We got to turn out the Detroit vote. There's no question. But the 6th congressional district turned out more Democratic votes by a significant number than any other congressional district in this state. And we're going to keep ourselves there. So we got to turn out votes. We got to have a good showing. We got to show that it matters. And Daniel's not here. They're going to organize like a march from the sports school to the voting place on campus a week out. And, we just need to encourage people to vote. We need to have a strong showing, because I do think it's important that a state like ours that makes things and builds things and grows things, and all kinds of issues matter, from farming to what's happening in the Mideast. So that'll be where I'll start. So people have ideas, things, we need to work on that. Okay, let me go to the one that hangs heavy over everybody every single day, or it sure hangs heavy over me every single day. And it's going to hang heavy over me. Here's a reality. Michigan is a competitive state. We are also going to be ground zero. How Michigan goes is going to determine the presidential election. I was watching a media show and one of the political experts say there's 6 states that are even battleground marginal states. 2 of them are trending blue. 2 of them are trending red. Nevada and Michigan are, who knows? And Nevada doesn't have enough electoral votes. It's going to come down to Michigan. We have to take this really seriously. And there are a lot of people that are angry right now. Third-party candidates are going to hurt Democrats. That's a reality. I don't know who the third-party candidates are going to be. And there are a lot of very hurt, angry. The Mideast is just a very real issue. It's a real issue in the 6th district, but it's a real issue there. I'm going to tell you how, look, I've said to you what Hamas did was a terrorist act and what they did was wrong. And I think Israel has the right to exist and they have the right to defend themselves. But right now in Gaza and in Palestine, West Bank, more than 30,000 innocent people have died. 12,000 children have died. They have no food. They have no water. The calls that I get, the casework, there's a doctor at the University of Michigan who's desperately trying to get his father out and his stepmother and the 3 siblings, and he's doing everything. They can't get I've even got 2 of them were over 21, and I got the State Department to give them, probably not supposed to tell this stuff, but you know, I can't get them across. I can't, there's a list every day that Egypt puts out to let you across the bridge. You can't escape. 85% of the people have no home to live in. The children that have been hurt are having surgery without any anesthesia. There's no medicine. There is no anything. The Red Cross has had to pull out because of the lack of resources. United States isn't funding UNRWA, and UNRWA is the source. And look, we need to know the facts on whether some of those, if there were 13 or 12 people from UNRWA that participated in that Hamas attack, they should be fired. They should be held accountable. All of that should happen. But you know what? The Nickel brothers lived here in Michigan, and you all were responsible for what the Nichols brothers did. When you got large organizations, you got people that feel things, and we got to figure out how we're going to do this. And I keep saying a Jewish baby and a Palestinian baby are babies. They're children. They should have equal opportunity to live in peace. There's one toilet for, they should. It's just, and in Gaza, there's one toilet for 250 people, one shower for 14,000 people. It's horrific if you can even find a shelter. So the living conditions are unacceptable. We have to have a ceasefire. And we gotta, and I'm sorry, we need a 2-state solution. Netanyahu does not have the right, this is me, you may disagree, to all of a sudden say, they're, you know, just, no, Palestinians aren't going to live here, there's not going to be. But we got, and I'm also going to tell you at this point that I feel very strongly that if we are going to expand this war in the Mideast, which I'm terrified of, the president's got to come to Congress for that authorization, period. I'm not private conversations are private conversations, but anybody who knows me knows that I'm direct. And I will say I've had some direct conversations. But I think we need to feel this empathy. But we've got a lot of, you know, there are a lot of young people here with very strong feelings. There are a lot of people in this community with very strong feelings on both sides. I mean, I was and have from the very beginning been I chair the Violence Against Women Task Force in the United States House. It's one of the subjects that I have worked on the hardest since I've been in the Congress. Many of you heard me speak out against and get attacked by the Palestinians for talking about the rapes against women. And I've had some pretty horrific attacks on that, been doxxed 6 times. But AIPAC's now going after me because, one, they've put out inaccurate information that I wasn't co-sponsoring the resolution on Hamas rapes. And I'm like, I helped Lois write it. I talked to Speaker Johnson about moving it. So, and I'll just lies. But I have done, and there's rape as a tool of war is being used in Ukraine, Uganda, Pakistan, and I did a broader resolution, and I'm being condemned for doing the broader resolution. But that's the world we're living in right now. People are just, and you elect me to take a shot. So I talk to people. When I get really mad, I yell back. What's happening in the Mideast is impacting us all. It's tearing our community apart. There are people hurting on both sides, and it's going to impact this election. And I'm really worried. I understand how everybody feels, but I'm also going to remind people that Donald Trump has called our Muslim brothers and sisters vermin, that they're poisoning the blood of our country, that he wants to ban them. And we got to figure this out. So I guess those were the 2 most important issues. If anybody's got any questions, we got to turn up the votes. We got to be empathetic to our brothers and sisters that are hurting. And we got to work these issues.
Yes, have a question?
Hello, Congresswoman. Thank you for those words. I so agree with you about Palestine and what's happening there in terms of that it's going to be consequential for this election. And this is our first year, right? Like being early like this. And so people are going to be looking to this place. And it matters so much. And I am concerned because we're seeing, also like I've been targeted also because of standing up for a ceasefire, with the city of Ypsilanti being early in the process of passing 2 resolutions for a ceasefire. And I've heard what the community is saying here. And right, dear, like how could he make a big win here without that population voting for him? Like, I don't understand, both for the Palestinian population, the Muslim population, and the young people who we as a party are trying to woo and who feel very strongly that we are funding a genocide. So what do we do to encourage him to do something different?
He's being heard. I think you're going to see policy people coming into Michigan and talking. I think it's important that we show empathy to both communities because both communities are hurting. We really need to understand that. And I think it's taken a while I think there are diplomatic things that are going on. I'm hoping that we're going to see more upfront answers to that question in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. But you're correct. But I really think the bulk of America, I feel for the Jewish community. I mean, they're not Netanyahu. They had brothers and sisters and cousins that were killed. When you see, people believe, I cannot tell you how I've been yelled at, screamed at, protested, doxxed. I mean, there ain't anything I've been experienced. I called Jerry Clayton on a Saturday night and said, Jerry, I'd never been doxxed before the first time. And I'm like, what do I do? They're threatening to kill me. I have my panic button in my hand. He goes, where does your panic button go? I went, I don't know. It's a true story. It is a true story. But, and they don't, I mean, that infuriates me and it doesn't, but they're hurting. I mean, that did happen too. I think it's important. I think a lot of the American people are where they feel for both sides. Israel's got a right to exist, but what's happening in Palestine and the West Bank is not okay too. That's what I think.
I mean, but a lot of the Jewish community also want to see cars, right? So I feel too. Yeah.
So we just need to show empathy for both sides though some days. It'd be one of the pieces of advice that and I also would give another piece of advice. Most of you in here, and I don't know that anybody is, sometimes the way that people take the issue on terrifies people. And we need to be effective in delivering the message and how we deliver it. And not do things that let them use it. So, and I want to thank the sheriff. I worked with him to really bring a mutual statement together of all of the local communities. We're going to stand up to hate wherever you see it. It's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-Arab American. We do have to stand up to hate wherever we see it.
I'm going to ask very quickly about the status of aid to Ukraine. So the United States, because of the Republicans in Congress, has stopped funding Ukraine in its war to defend itself. What are the prospects of aid continuing?
If I ruled the world, Republicans are in charge, in case you hadn't noticed. I think the president is very committed to more Ukraine funding. I had a long talk with Mitch McConnell a week ago today. I mean, the world's totally, he's very committed to getting Ukrainian funding. It's going to come down to what Mike Johnson's willing to move and what are we going to do on the border. And, you know, people want to tie that and aid to Israel. And I think aid to Israel is becoming more complicated. I mean, I'm not really, I mean, we got to, so we're going to have to see. It's going to be a subject that will be where much of the focus is the next couple of weeks. I am one of those people that believe we must fund Ukraine, and you may see someone ultimately back that out on the other. It's probably one of the most intense issues in Washington right now. And I'll never give you promises or tell you what I know what's going to happen until we do. I was at a dinner last Saturday, and it was Condoleezza Rice, both the former Secretary of Defense, Jim, and Condoleezza Rice. Thank you, Madison. What getting intense. I forget. Spoke to. I mean, it was an interesting crowd, billionaire crowd probably too. But I said, aid to you. I mean, it's normally a roast, but they didn't. Condoleezza Rice got up and said to all the members of Congress here, to the Republicans, the world's is at the future of the world's at stake over Ukraine funding. You have to stop playing games with this. It was a very powerful speech. So we'll see. Ukrainian ambassador was there. Everybody gave her a standing ovation. So we'll have to see.
I think Caroline has a question.
So I have a commercial announcement that is not a question for Representative Dingell.
Hold up on that.
Yeah.
Other questions for Congresswoman Dingell? I want to lead a round of applause for her leadership.
I love you guys. Let's just get that competitiveness in us. We're 6th district's gonna kick ass and win Michigan in November.
I'm gonna ask Hill to come up for just a sec, or take a mic for just a sec while the panelists are gathering. We have a really important panel, and I don't want to delay it. But I do want to give Hill a minute. Caroline, do you want to speak now? Okay, go. Yeah.
Good to see you, Hill. The commercial announcement is about the Washtenaw County Democratic Party Black Caucus, which is chartered by the Washtenaw Dems. I just want to let everybody know that, as Representative Dingell stated, the 6th district is you fill in the blank. We're doing stuff, and the Black Caucus is going to take advantage of that. So we meet the 4th Saturday of every month, typically here. We've got our secretary here. We have our former chair, Representative Wilson. the vice chair, Chris Watson is somewhere, and I am the chair. So I just want to take an opportunity, since we have this audience, to let everybody know we are doing some things different.
Yeah.
And we are going to make sure
Yeah.
that we use our force as Black voters to let the candidates know things are not going to continue to be the same status quo. They're going to need to show what they've done and what they're planning on doing. And we've got chock full meetings every month. We will have panels, guest speakers, and on and on and on. So I just wanted to take advantage of the audience and let folks know they are welcome to come and be a part of that. And we're looking forward to having full packed meetings.
Great.
Letting the candidates know it's not going to be, we're not going to be a cheap date.
And just so you know, again, it's the last Saturday of the month.
Yes.
Here,
Yeah.
generally, 10 to 12. Yeah, in the morning. One sec.
Thank you.
I also want to just reiterate or emphasize something that Debbie said. Washtenaw County is most of CD6. It's the bulk of CD6, Congressional District 6. Back in 2016, with that horrifying incident, we lost Michigan by 10,704 votes. That's more votes than Jill Stein got. 10,704 votes. My pal Dirk Mayhew said, and told me about this years ago. He said, you know, Washtenaw County alone left 50,000 blue votes on the table in 2016. 50,000. A lot of people think, Washtenaw County, you're so blue, it doesn't matter. We're so blue, it doesn't matter if we vote. Guess what? We swing the state and we swing the country. Everybody needs to vote. Everybody needs to vote. This is so important. I was talking to an artist the other day at a Creative Washtenaw event and a really important constituency, speaking of, and he had no clue. He says, oh, really? I was like, oh my God. So I was like, I want everybody out there giving this message. Our blue votes swing the country. Vote. Everybody has to vote. Hill, everybody come on, the panelists come up. Chris, you're the chair, so come on up. But while Hill's talking, I just want to say I'm watching Madam Secretary for the first time, and I saw you in a role I hadn't seen you in before. So anyway, welcome. So glad you're here.
Hey, everybody. It is such a pleasure to be here. And really, I'm Hill Harper, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate. And follow on Congresswoman Dingell, I want to shout out her courage. You know, I'm only one of 2 U.S. Senate candidates in the country to call for ceasefire. And it's a shame. It's a shame because 71% of Michigan Democrats support ceasefire. And I don't have to reiterate the data that the Congresswoman shared. It is horrific, and it's horrific what's happening. And it's sad that we are in a state in this country where special interest groups have such a chokehold, and money and dark money has such a chokehold on our democracy, to the point that it influences people's moral core and their ability to stand up for something because of threats that I receive, certainly from many of those special interest groups, saying, if you keep talking about this issue, we were going to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars against you to make sure that you're not elected. Even on social media, ever since I publicly announced for ceasefire, I've been shadow banned. So, you know, I have 530 or 40,000 followers on Instagram as an example, and it's gone down 98% as far as distribution. So, you know, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people see any content I put out. So you have to understand that when people talk about censoring and threats and things that happen when you stand up for an issue that is difficult to stand up for, but you have the moral courage to do it, those things happen and they're real and they impact our democracy. And so, you know, I'm not a career politician, but I am a cancer survivor. I am a 32-year union member. I'm a small business owner in Detroit, and I'm a graduate of both the U.S. Marine Corps Officer Candidate School and Harvard Law School. But most importantly, I'm a father to an 8-year-old, super over-energized young man named Pierce, who is the reason why I'm running, because so many people are hurting and so many young people are hurting. And we have to, particularly in Washington, do so much of a better job holding up a truly empathetic level of leadership. And unfortunately, since money is controlling our discourse and our democracy in many ways, you know, President Barack Obama and I were classmates and friends at Harvard Law School. And many people think that the reaction to the Obama presidency was the Tea Party. But I would suggest to you the reaction to the Obama presidency was Citizens United in 2011. And the ability to say, you know what, we are going to stop the ability and power of the people and let money be the determinative factor of electoral politics. And Citizens United is one of the things that I want to go to the U.S. Senate and kill. And it's so horrifically difficult and ironic and so it's oddly hypocritical that I go out there saying, hey, can you give me money so I can get money out of politics? You know, so but I look forward to getting to know. I know many of you already, but any of you that I don't know, I haven't met, look forward to speaking to you. This is the first open U.S. Senate seat in Michigan in decades. And Michigan's greatest senator in history is a senator named Phil Hart, who was literally the soul and conscience of the U.S. Senate. And whoever wins this Senate seat, their office is going to be in the Phil Hart building. When I went to visit Barack, when he won his Senate seat, his office was in the Phil Hart building. And I just say this, I think it's incumbent upon us as Democrats that to make sure that whatever senator we send to the Phil Hart building reflects the true values of Phil Hart. Phil Hart fought for civil rights, social justice, fought against corporate greed. He fought against the expanded of spending money in terms of the military expansion. And these are the things that we have to be willing to fight for. It seems that we can always find money for foreign wars, but we can't find money to educate our children.
Yeah.
Can't find money for health care. We have to get these things done. And I'm willing to fight and do that work. And if you're willing to fight with me, please join us. You can go to hillharbor.com. There's a number I can give you later, 313-942-4455 that you can text. Eric in the blue, he's a superstar, part of our campaign. Talk to any of us. And I just want to shout out a couple of the leaders here who have what I call infinite courage to come out and support me and to be to endorse me. Sheriff Jerry Clayton endorsed me and the fact that he did that so early, you know, in a situation where it's not easy to do. Jimmie Wilson Jr. Listen, these are folks that say, you know what, even though there may be folks in the Democratic hierarchy that say, don't endorse Hill, they step out with courage and say, you know what, right is right. And I celebrate you guys and thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to meeting you. I look forward to this panel.
Are we moving seats now?
As our panelists come up and take their seats, I want to thank the WCDP for hosting this panel, and for those who are joining in the room and online. If you've been coming to WCDP meetings, you've probably heard a couple of the facts I'm about to tell you. One being, at the city, county, and state level, this is the most diverse group of electeds Washtenaw County has ever seen. And the other fact is that Washtenaw County is the 8th most economically segregated county in the nation. The contrast between these two facts makes clear both the opportunity for progress and the magnitude of work still to do. In framing this discussion of equity in Washtenaw County, it's important to define what we're talking about. This succinct definition of equity comes from the National Association of Colleges and Employers. The term equity refers to fairness and justice and is distinguished from equality. Whereas equality means providing the same to all, equity means recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and must acknowledge and make adjustments to imbalances. The process is ongoing, requiring us to identify and overcome intentional and unintentional barriers arising from bias or systemic structures. Joining us on the panel today to discuss equity through a local lens are State Rep Jimmie Wilson, House District 32, State Rep Felicia Brabec, House District 33. Sheriff Jerry Clayton. Vice Chair of the County Board of Commissioners, Caroline Sanders. County Commissioner Crystal Lyte. And Chair of the Board of Commissioners, Justin Hodge. My first question for the panel, and we'll take it one by one. Describe a policy or initiative related to equity in Washtenaw County that you've been most proud to work on during your time as an elected.
Just one?
I'll start first. Good morning. I'm honored to be here. Happy to be here. I'll just start when we started in 2009. When Derek Jackson and I had a conversation about him as a social worker coming to work in the sheriff's office to help us change the organizational culture of the sheriff's office in terms of understanding we're not a law enforcement agency. We are a service agency that hits a number of different points throughout the community. And one of the things that I'm most proud of that we continue to do, equity also starts with opportunity. And although we've talked about banning the box, and I hear this a lot in the county about having a policy here and there around people with lived experience, formerly justice involved, I don't see a lot of action in that. One of the first things we did in the sheriff's office is we started hiring people that were formerly justice involved. The first person we hired had spent 10 years in federal prison on a RICO that our staff, that the sheriff's office staff, had arrested 10 years earlier. And think about what we say is a value in our country. We believe in the law, we believe in accountability, we believe in all that, but don't we also believe in redemption? Don't we also believe if society has said this is the penalty you pay for behavior that runs counter to societal accepted norms, and you pay that debt, aren't you supposed to have an opportunity to fulfill your potential like everybody else? Well, if it's true, why don't we see that? Why do we see, and I'll end here, but I want to plant this seed. Why do we see when you have an organization like the Supreme Felons, who actually is doing some of the work on the ground? Why do we get all this vitriol when the county had the courage to fund their work when they laid out an operational plan and say, we'll be the community responders that everybody says they want? It's just an example where rhetoric doesn't meet action. So one of the things we're most proud of is we had our rhetoric and our values meet our action. We'll hire, and we continue to hire formerly justice involved, people that have lived experience that can inform us of how the best way to not only impact the criminal legal system, but also the best way to impact communities that they're serving. So that would be the one I'd start.
So I want to follow up on what Sheriff Clayton has said, and I'm going to cheat just a little bit. So I'm going to speak about one initiative that I'm most proud of, but I'm going to mention a second. When you drove in here today, you probably saw an RV parked out there, brand new, spanking, shining RV. That is the one that I won't talk about, but it is in action, and that is probably going to be the thing that I'm most proud of. But the one that I'll talk about is utilizing my voice when it came to the ARPA funding that we were making available for the nonprofits in the community. And my insistence that we change the way nonprofits typically are able to access that funding. And I do take some credit for making sure that for the first time, I believe ever, the eastern side of this county has received their fair share, and they probably could use more funding of that ARPA money. Supreme Felons is one of them. And I did and do still stand up when those pundits came at us for giving, a couple of $1 million to agencies that operate in the on the east side of the county. No offense to the west side of the county, but what we saw for decades was that there was a level of control that was asserted so that the majority of the money went to basically the same nonprofits. And as you start to look at the makeup of those nonprofits, their boards, their staff, they may be serving people of color and the most vulnerable, but their makeup did not represent that. And so one of the things that I did was to use my voice to say we need to change the parameters for how they're eligible to apply for this money. We had 4 representatives from the 4 areas within the 48197, 48198, who were the reviewers of those applications and the ones that came together, and I think unanimously, because we weren't in the room, decided who would get that money. And so I was able to choose a representative. I believe the 2 Ypsi Township commissioners at the time chose one each from their district, and Superior Township. I also made sure that we kept their identity protected during that process, because we had people insisting that they wanted to know who was reviewing these applications and how did they come to this decision. And I steadfastly said, you don't get to know that until after the process is completed. And if they want to be known, because can you imagine being a volunteer? You're volunteering your time for multiple hours to review these applications, to decide who should get the funding, and then to have people that don't know anything about the process judging you, possibly threatening you, because that is a real thing, because you want to volunteer to help people in your own community. So I would say the way the access and the way that we were able to distribute a lot of that ARPA money is probably the thing that I'm most proud of, because I sat in on all 4 of the information sessions we provided for those agencies that were interested in putting in their applications. And I can tell you, in every one of those sessions, we had historically well-funded nonprofits asking how much can we apply for? Some of them having the audacity to ask, well, if we partner up with a minority nonprofit, does that improve our chances? No, because if you're doing it just for this application, I'm seeing through that. And so I am most proud of delivering money to those areas that have always been underfunded. Before I got elected, we used to say, if it was the east side of the county and they applied for money, they got project money. But if it was the west side that applied for money, they got program money. And so that has to change. And the other inner part of that is I have consistently said, where is your diversity? Whether it's people that support campaigns, or whether or not it's nonprofits in the community who have been used to getting what they ask for. Where is your diversity? Are you hiring people that look like the folks that you serve? Because that to me is telling. And our new my new thing is show me your receipts. I don't want you to just show up asking for something. Where have you been? Have you been consistent? Or are you just now trying to get consistent because you want something or you want a position? So that's what I have to say. And I would challenge all of you to ask the people that want to represent you to show their receipts, not just be verbal. Come on.
Oh, I'll follow with that. So I'm new to the Board of Commission, in running again. But I can say that when I came in, I knew what I was coming into. And so doing that with the former commissioners, I knew that I needed to continue to carry the accountability to not only our constituents, but to other organizations and townships and throughout. So one thing that I am most proud of and can say, is just making sure that all are being held accountable for, let's say, for instance, with housing. I can say now that is something that I am very passionate about and working on and making sure that all our constituents and residents will have equitable housing. And so that's something that myself and the whole board has been working on and will continue to work on. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's just something that we're going to continue to do. And so that's something that I am very proud of, is just to make sure that all residents and our communities have equitable housing.
Well, I do hope Caroline talks about the RV at some point, or take a look at the RV as you're pulling out of here, because I won't say anything else about it, because you will later. If you've come to these meetings frequently, you've probably heard me talk about the Children's Savings Accounts program that the county launched. It's called My Future Fund. I'd probably say that's one of the programs I'm most proud of having worked on. So I'll give you a little bit of an overview. What this looks like is all kids in Washtenaw County Public Schools are eligible for a savings account program for college, trade school, any kind of post-secondary education. And our thinking behind that is there's plenty of research that shows that if you're a kid growing up with a savings account for college, even if you graduate from high school and there's not a lot of money in the account, you're still several times more likely to be able to go on, because during your time growing up, you developed a mindset that you're saving for something after high school. So we wanted to design the program with equity at the core, and we had to figure out a good metric to be able to do that. The one that we landed on was free and reduced lunch. So if you're a kid that gets free or reduced lunch, the county invests $500 to seed those accounts versus the $25 to open the accounts for everyone else. And then, so added context, we have 3 school districts in Washtenaw County that more than half of the students qualify for free or reduced lunch. And if more than half of the students in a school district qualify for that, then everyone is eligible for free or reduced lunch. And that's Lincoln, YCS, and Whitmore Lake. So we're exploring opportunities to be able to better engage the students there. And we've started rolling out the accounts. If you've seen, if you follow any of the county stuff, maybe you saw me and Commissioner Sanders reading books to kids. We're going to be doing a tour around various school districts, reading books to kids and talking about saving for college, and handing out these big checks. You can't cash a giant check, but it's just how much money that the school district received related to the accounts for that. So this is one of those initiatives that isn't doing something right in the moment, but it'll drive generational change. And that, in combination with a lot of the other, you said to mention one, that in combination with all of the other equity focused programming that we're doing, will work together to really change Washtenaw County for generations to come.
Good morning. I would say one of the, won my Democratic primary August of 2022. And as you all know, a lot of districts here in Washtenaw County, if you win your Democratic primary in our partisan elections, you're probably going to be the person who wins that seat in November. So after the August primary, I started meeting with folks at the state level. And they always would ask, what's some of my priorities? And they wanted me to always list a few different things, but I always just led with one thing. I need Ypsilanti schools to be made whole. And we need that school debt paid off. And I've pretty much from day one in the legislature, that's the only thing I wanted to talk about for the most part. I had a lot of other things I was involved with, but that was my main piece that we really needed. And I said, if I don't get anything else the entire year, I need Ypsilanti Community Schools to get this school debt paid off. And so I say that thing I'm most proudest of is being a part of, with the support of folks like Representative Brabec, Representative Jason Morgan, our state senator Jeff Irwin, and all the Washtenaw County delegation, that we did finally get that Ypsilanti school debt paid off. The school district asked for about 25 million, and we were able to secure 42 million for which is unprecedented because there were other school districts who needed some help and they got dollars. Ypsilanti Community Schools actually got the most out of all those districts. There was a pot of money of about 114 million, and Ypsi schools got 42 million of that. So that's what we're talking about, equity and finally bringing the school district whole. So.
With Jimmie leading us in the House on that, that was a very exciting day when we finally, because it was months and months and months and months and months of just for us, and obviously people working on prior to us and getting that call. I feel like we were like holding our breaths, waiting for that call. So thank you for all you did. Morning, everybody. The first thing that I thought of, Chris, when you asked about that, was back when I got to serve as the county commissioner, and it was thinking about some of those inequities that we talk about right here in our county. You mentioned where our standing is as a county. Years and years ago, in terms of public health, we knew that folks on the west side, men particularly, could live 5 to 10 years longer than their east side counterparts, who are just a mere miles away, right? Points on tests, standardized tests from the east side to the west side were 30 points different. Like that shouldn't happen. And so, again, years ago, folks, we started talking, Jerry and I started talking. At that point, it was the director of OCD and public health. We all started talking, and they were all doing this work before this. But one of the things that was missing was an acknowledgement, kind of a writ large acknowledgement from the county that this was a problem. So we worked towards that. I can tell you that when I sat in that first meeting to say, hey, we want to do this, we want to have a racial equity policy, it was really an ordinance to begin with. We want to have that in the county. I was told it could never be done. And we all worked and worked and worked. And I can say years later, it got passed unanimously at that board table. And my husband said, I don't think I've ever seen you cry at the board table. And that day he did. And so that was the basis of us being able to, in a more comprehensive way, collect data, bring that in, to be able to make determinations on who we're serving and how we're hiring, how we're promoting from within. And so that was one of the things that I was really, really proud of at the county. In terms of appropriations, in addition to what Jimmie talked about, and when Jerry was talking, I was really thinking about this, is when we think about folks and how we serve them. I've gotten the opportunity here on Valley Women's Prison is in the district that I get to serve. So I've gotten the opportunity to spend time there, particularly with the women who are serving life. The first time I got to do that, I remember it was a Saturday, and I was there and I had a meeting. You can't have your phone, right? And I had a meeting afterwards, and I was like, I'm missing my meeting. I know I can't tell them, I'm really sorry, but I just want to spend time with these women. And so I've been back, times after, and one of the things that we talked about was opportunities, right? Like, what are the opportunities that they have when they're in prison? And so I worked in the State House for 2.5 years to be able to partner with EMU and to be able to get a degree program for the women in the prison, and we now have that. So that was, thinking about opportunities and how we're helping folks and impacting culture. That was one of the things I was most proud of.
Thank you. Thank you for those thoughtful answers. And as often happens, I think Felicia might have intuited my next question, which is how do you judge our progress on equity and where are we falling short? And I'd like to throw this to the most tenured member of the panel, Jerry, and then perhaps to Justin afterwards as the chair of the board.
Where are we now? Far, far away, right? So if we squint and look really, really into the future, we can see where there's the possibilities where people like Dr. King and Malcolm X and other folks envisioned our country. We're not anywhere near that. The election of Barack Obama didn't put us anywhere near that. It changed a little bit, but I see we're backslid. So where are we overall? I think we are in some areas worse than we were. Because some of the events that have led up in the last few elections have actually made it really, really acceptable to act and say things that people always felt but weren't willing to do. So, quite frankly, but where that does put us is there's one thing to be covert about the racism and your bias and all that. There's another thing to be overt about. I'd rather be overt. I tell people that all the time. I'd rather just be overt. And sometimes, and this might not be good for everybody in Washtenaw County, but I'll just say this. Sometimes Washtenaw County concerns me because the racism and bias is covert. We say certain things, we just don't do certain things. So I came to office in 2009, and in 2009, if we had done an event like this, there wouldn't have been this many people up here, right? So not about me, but about the county. Let's just say we have 5 countywide elected officials, right? Sheriff, prosecutor, clerk, water resource commissioner, and treasurer. 5. Washtenaw County's been in existence for 200 years. How many people of color have served in one of those 5 positions? One. So here's why I said we have a long way to go. There's one thing to have programs. There's one thing to advocate. There's one thing, we have to. My grandfather and I would have this conversation about advocates and people that do things from the outside. But if you really want to make change, if you really want to make impact, you've got to be sitting at the table. You have to be sitting at the table. Are we further along and better in Washtenaw County? Yes, look who's at the table at all levels, local and state. And there's a reason why I had no problem endorsing Hill, because it can't stop at the local and the state. The fact in this country, in this state, that it was automatically assumed that the next person up didn't look like him. That's a problem. That's a problem. So we got a long ways to go. Because at the end of the day, we don't have to agree on everything. But we all have to be sitting at the table, and we all have to be willing to have the courage to say, this is what I believe, and not worry about who criticizes. So I'll tell people this, I don't worry about criticism from people I wouldn't take advice from. So y'all can criticize all day. When we get in these positions, you got to make hard decisions. So are we getting better? Yes, because more of us are sitting at the table to contribute a perspective. Not the only perspective, but a perspective. That's where I think we need to be. We're far from perfect. I'll tell people to share something. I've been here 16 years. We're far from perfect. But we've been really intentional about trying to change and move the needle and show what's possible when you do so. So I'll get off my soapbox and end right there. Long way to go. Let's not get seduced and celebrate where we are. All that should do is inspire us to keep doing the hard work and taking the hard stances to get what we envision the future to be for all of us.
Yeah, I would add that we're not going to get to a point where we can just say, all right, we did it. We've got an equitable county now, we're done. Like, it's going to be an ongoing battle where we have to keep pushing as vigorously as all of us have been over the years. There has been progress, but Rep. Brabec mentioned the health disparities and differences in life expectancy. We still have significant differences in life expectancy just a few short miles away in Washtenaw County. We have significant disparities in income. And as Chris mentioned earlier, we've got significant concentrated poverty and wealth concentrated in certain parts of Washtenaw County. So until we do something to address those key issues there, we're going to keep seeing many of these same kinds of worse health outcomes. and worse economic outcomes for people. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've been really excited to work with this iteration of our board here, because we have been investing in a lot of things that have never been invested before. Community violence intervention work was touched on earlier, that we got a lot of flack about that, and we still do. And I mean, we made that allocation a while ago now, but people are still really mad to see that we would invest in something that's evidence-based and is being done across the country. But it's saving lives and saving lives of the people that those critics don't really care about. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. So every time we have a conversation like this at one of these WCDP meetings, I always want to say, make sure that you're following what your local and county and state and federal officials are doing, and be supportive of that, because we're for every like one nice thing you guys say to us, we get flooded with a whole bunch of "stop it, we hate that" kind of thing. So it is nice to know that, okay, so there is a group out there that does support this kind of equity-driven work. It is this, this group here. But don't just assume that everyone else thinks the same way that you all do with being supportive of that work, because that's really not the case, even in Washtenaw County.
Thank you, Justin and Felicia. We talk a lot, and Jerry there, we talk a lot about how representation matters, as Jerry just mentioned, but I'm going to throw this to Caroline first. Can you talk about a situation where, if you hadn't been in the room as a Black elected, a policy or decision would likely have had a different outcome? And this is your chance to talk about the RVs.
So, okay, I'm going to delay that RV thing because that was really an initiative that I brought before the board before I was sworn into office. And I have to give credit to the commissioners that were in office at that time, because it was unanimously adopted. So I'm going to pause that for a minute. I'm going to say probably related to housing and homelessness, and being in the room. There was a meeting that occurred where we were sort of rolling out what was going to be presented to the public. I had recently attended a conference with the commissioners that I'm actually sitting here with in Austin, where we had the opportunity to tour a tiny home community, which I loved, and also see an example of pop-up emergency housing that I also thought was fabulous, and both I felt could be utilized here in our county. And from that visit, we came back, we were supposed to be doing this, and this. What was rolled out in the meeting that I was in the room for looked to me woefully less than what my expectation was. And I will say my presumption of what I thought others thought was interesting. And I'm known for speaking my mind. And I would say I'm not a crier, but I probably have cried more than the commissioners that are, more than any other commissioners sitting on the board at this time. But when I do cry, it means I'm ready to fight you. It's not a moment of weakness. It's sort of a release. So I won't have to be looking at Jerry in one of his jails. But they made the presentation and I was pretty sullen, and I said, it's not enough. As much as I don't always welcome the very long meetings because we have a lot of public comment, the people that were talking to us had legitimate concerns. And I am one of those people that, like, I drive around the county, not just where I represent. I was out driving around Christmas Eve because I wanted to see, and I actually saw 3 homeless people. So in that meeting, I had a pissy fit. And I kind of let it be known, you might be able to pass this, but I'm going to be so vocal, it's going to make you all uncomfortable. And they repackaged, they added more money And so that's one of the things that I'm probably most proud of. And I will always be consistent in that way. You're not going to take my integrity away from me. I don't care who you are and what you say. And I don't bully well. I'm not saying I can't be bullied, but unless it's my child, my grandson, or my mother, we're just going to be tussling. So I would say that related to the housing and homelessness funding that the county has made available, and it's never enough. No matter what issue of concern there is, there's never enough. But it was more than we've ever provided. And I would say that is probably at the top, in addition, which is related to it, in addition to my insistence that we stop throwing money at the problem, or as I say, kicking the can down the road. Do something that is long-term, substantial, sustainable. And I know it sounds like I'm picking on them, but I kind of am. Make the nonprofits accountable. We give them money to provide services that the county does not provide, but there's nobody checking them. There's no check and balance there, right? So if you're a resident and you go to that entity and they're rude to you, or they don't service you, there's no portal for you to be able to let us know that that is what's occurring with your tax dollars. So I know I merged that, but you got to take advantage when you got the mic.
I'll maybe throw it to Felicia here.
So at the state level, is it? All right, thank you. At the state level, one of the tools that we have are appropriations. And I get to chair both of us are on appropriations, thankfully. And I get to chair, and so is Jason in back. And so I get to chair general government. General government has 7 different departments underneath it. It has the governor's budget, the legislature, treasury, our tech department, the attorney general, civil rights, and the secretary of state. And some of the work that as the chair of that budget, and I got to lead the negotiations last year. So they always pick a person, House or Senate. So this year for general government, the Senate will lead it, but I got to lead it last year. And that meant that I got to push for, in a way that I wouldn't normally, things for in civil rights. So for example, I got to push and make sure that there was funding for our hate crime legislation. And I got to push for appropriations for the expansion of Elliott Larson. And to make sure that those are in there. And it's not just appropriations, but for example, right now, our Indigent Defense Commission is in LARA. If people know what LARA is, it's like how we get licensed. You know, like how people are licensed. Like I'm licensed through LARA as a psychologist. That's where our Indigent Defense Fund sits. That makes no sense. Right? That makes no sense to me. And so I last year worked on and will continue to work on this year, moving indigent defense from LARA to civil rights, where I think it belongs. Yeah. And I can only do that because I'm in that position. And so I think that you know, like all of us who are in those positions use that as a catalyst to be able to make, you know, have these conversations. I don't know if folks have brought that up before. I do know that when I went to the governor's office to talk about indigent defense, they're like, oh, okay, like we want to hear more about that. You know, like, and someone may have done it before me, and I may have just been talking to, you know, an individual who hadn't thought about that, but it matters. Like it matters that we are at the table matters.
Okay. I do at this point want to open it up to questions from the audience. I think there's maybe a mic up here that somebody would be, yeah. Yes, I think so. So
You go volunteer to walk around with the mic, please?
yes, perhaps. And yeah, we can go to Kathy here. She had, I think it's our hand.
But I had a walking mic, so yeah, ask me a question if
two, yeah.
No.
Okay, time. I heard a phrase today that I don't remember ever hearing from Justin, and I wondered if you could elaborate on it. Oh, and
I do have a master's in social work, so maybe it's newer, but drive directional change. I just think that is so powerful.
I said generational change, but yeah. I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah, I said that we're going to drive generational change. So, and I said that in the context of the children's savings accounts that I talked about earlier, because it's an investment that we're making now, but it's going to pay dividends into the future. And I think if we really continue to invest in programming that is long-term and will change lives over a longer period of time, investing in people, like doing some of the programming that we've done to support debt reduction and increasing home ownership in the areas that have been disinvested in, that's going to, generations from now, Washtenaw County will look very different.
I saw Desiree's hand. Oh, appreciate it. Okay, well.
I need my steps.
Right here.
Okay. So I want to hear about the RV.
So the RV, which they want me to rename, but I'm not sure, is called the Mobile Support Services Initiative, for short, MSSI. And initially, we weren't supposed to have to buy a brand new RV. We had 2 vehicles that were donated by the Ann Arbor Area Transit Authority. We could not get them retrofitted because of their age. So we ended up having to buy an RV that is handy capable, accessible. There is a wheelchair lift and a handy capable shower. We will be converting the inside so that the bedroom in there will be converted to like an office/meeting space. The goal was for that vehicle to service the east side of the county and the west side of the county, in those areas where our residents have difficulty logistically accessing services that typically may be offered at a brick and mortar. So it's a big thing, but I'll try and give you my elevator pitch. It was created so that we could partner better with the county, that is, with our nonprofits who are already delivering services, but may have some challenges reaching some of the residents, and to make sure that those residents had access to things like, free produce or hygiene items or services from our health department, even though they have their own mobile unit. And to be able to meet their needs and then, if necessary, refer them to a brick and mortar. So it's not intended to go to each individual's house, but it is intended to find a specific location in an area where people can come and get services. My hope, and I'm trying not to get too into the weeds, my hope is that there will be some sort of communication tool that I stole from the sheriff's department, like a texting system, so that our residents can opt in and know when that vehicle will be in their area, what services will be on that vehicle that particular day, and on and on and on. So it is meant to be of benefit to everyone involved and to give opportunities to our college students who need to satisfy volunteer hours, internship, capstone experience, research, that type of thing, so that we're getting people sort of out of the books and actually out in front of real breathing human beings. So it's not just something that they read about.
Awesome. Thanks. The desk.
The Mobile Support Services Initiative.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, so I have a question. So I'm particularly focused on health equity more lately, especially post-pandemic. I haven't heard that mentioned much because I've definitely seen this is increasing inequity with higher impact on us Latino people, Black people, Indigenous people. And there is also a domino effect that's affecting staffing and healthcare access. So I would like to know what you all have noticed and what you're doing in your role to help mitigate that.
I'll take it, Ruth. I got this one. So we allocated a significant amount of. Oh, okay. We allocated a significant amount of our ARPA dollars to health equity initiatives, largely run through our health department. So some of the examples of that look like hiring a network of community health workers to work in the areas in the county where we see lower health outcomes. The mobile unit that Commissioner Sanders mentioned at the health department, as you might have seen it, we used that during the pandemic to do mobile vaccination clinics and PPE distribution. It's something that they use on an ongoing basis too. Like we can provide WIC services and just a wide variety of the services that the health department has. We can use it and take it directly into the communities that need those services the most. One of the things that we're talking about now is that a lot of our health equity, the funding that we put towards health equity, it was ARPA dollars. We're coming to the end of the use of ARPA dollars. So we're going to have to look at what does it look like for us to continue funding structurally some of the programming that after evaluation has proven to be very effective. I would say that the community health workers in particular have been very effective, but that'll be something that we talk about in the months to come.
I would add to that. I think that the Racial Equity Office, the county commissioners, and Washtenaw County during COVID, in response to the legitimate concerns that the residents brought to us about not having access. I think that our partnership / advocacy has assisted entities like U of M Health Systems, and now being the anchor tenant in the old Eastern Michigan University College of Business building that has been bought by another entity. And they are going to be the anchor tenant, and they're bringing offices there that they've never staffed in Ypsilanti, that will make it much more accessible for, I use the word vulnerable because it covers, it's not one specific, culture. It covers, economic, ethnicity. And so I think that is a also good outcome from our advocacy to make sure that there's greater access health-wise. So I'm excited that they are going to be that anchor tenant, and that don't ask me to name them, but I think they're going to have like 11 different sort of specialties that are being offered in that building. And I am also having conversations with Alfreda Rooks, who is their community director, about the possibility of even having childcare in that location, so that that's not a barrier to someone coming and being able to have an appointment to look after themselves, so that they can ultimately look after their children as well. Yes.
On the state level, in addition to Justin was talking about the community health workers, we gave millions for our jurisdictions to be able to do that. But one of the things that's really interesting, and I just read an article yesterday that Connecticut did this statewide, and it's something that our state is looking at, is wiping medical debt for folks. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. And so there are a couple of us who have really taken a look at that. We did give, I think it's the number is 4.6 million. Just to make sure that that's right. 4.5 million for a pilot program. It's something, because literally the state can pay for folks' medical debt for pennies on the dollar, right? And so if we can relieve that burden for folks so that they can use that money for what they, they actually need to use it for, their life. If we can help in that way, I think we should take that opportunity. In the House, one of our colleagues, Natalie Price, is really leading this, but it's been, I think there are other states, other cities have done it, but literally yesterday, I think Connecticut was the first state, and I hope that that's something that we can look at as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So a question I have, if we talk about like different projects and programs, is when we think about equity, what we really need to be looking at is the money, and thinking about how we are using funds, moving funds, and making sure that we are getting them really right, as you're saying, like more at the front end parts of the issues. And so I'm just interested in hearing ways that you see being able to help the community understand that more and more, and ways to actually have that voice help me to determine how our funds are being used for equity.
Well, throw that to Jimmie.
I would say the main thing I just thought of when you were talking is how we put dollars into our budget this past year for urban farming grants. And I've been working with some of our urban farmers here in Washtenaw County, specifically in the Ypsilanti area, to make sure that they are able to be a part of the process to receive those grants. And those dollars haven't been rolled out yet, but they did have listening sessions to see, what kind of concerns should they be addressing as the Department of Agriculture. And so I made sure that our urban farmers here in the Ypsilanti area were a part of those listening sessions, and making sure that even the emails they were sending me, I was getting those over to the department to make sure that they're looking at everything properly, because sometimes the department may not really understand urban farming. I think this is the first year we've ever had those kind of grant dollars available. And so I'm partnering with them to make sure that those dollars come here into our area for that specifically.
I can say a tool that we can use, and I think that it can work really well at more local levels, is community-based budgeting, and really being able to set in place a process where there's that shared understanding of, because many folks, I didn't understand the county budget until I was a commissioner, and then got to lead the budget. And so it takes a while to be able to have folks, you have to, like workshops and teaching sessions so that folks can understand it. But that takes the commitment from both, I feel like, the local municipality and also the community members to come together to do that. But it is a tool that we could use.
Well, first of all, encourage people to participate, show up in meetings, ask questions. But I would say some of the ARPA money that was given out that we were under attack for, I said out loud, and I said to the entities that received the money, you now have the money. So it is not just the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners to police you. It is the responsibility of your community members to make sure that you are doing what you said you were going to do with the money. And so I think that it's a two-way street, that the community, the taxpayers, are just as responsible as the people that they elect to make sure that their money is being used where they feel it needs to be used the most. So I like to say it's a two-way street. I prefer to have a relationship. I don't want you to just elect me and then walk away, or walk away and then say, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. I need to hear from you. Like, I need to hear what it is that you want. It doesn't mean that I can guarantee you're going to get it, but at least I know what you're saying you want. And I can try and use that as leverage to say, yeah, so the voters, the constituents are not, they didn't say they wanted that. So people have to use their voice, right? And Washtenaw is large, but it's small enough that the electeds are in your grocery store. They live next door to you. They're touchable, they're reachable. I would just add, let's just try and be a little decent and in order when we approach them, because they're human as well. So I can respond to somebody that has questions or even comments, but if you're coming at me sideways, I may not, you might have an issue. So just be active.
Just really quick, I just want to say that we should that all should know what equity is, and we should educate all on what it is. And just something real brief, is just that equity refers to fairness and justice, and is distinguished from equity, where everybody should not necessarily, you're going to be equal, but you're going to be met in different places and spaces. And in order to do that, that's what being equitable is. So first, let's educate all on what equity is so that we're able to ask and to understand what is needed and how we address that issue.
So my next question, when you give a politician a mic, it's like being in church. So
politician.
Right. So one of my questions is when we look at Washtenaw County and we see the amount of African-American leaders in this community, it looks like we've overcome. And when in actuality, it is one of the hardest roles to be in. And we still have a major challenge of getting people of color to participate. As a leader, what are your thoughts or suggestions on how we can increase our level of advocacy and for people to be heard, and also to further teach people that equity is a human rights thing versus a color thing?
So I did not ask her to ask that question. One thing that I try and practice, and I've practiced my whole life, is that we need to reach back and pull forward. So just because I'm in this seat does not mean that I don't mentor other people, because I'm not going to be in this seat forever. But also those people that don't look like us, that have been in power forever, we also need to start looking at them and demanding to know, how are you being more inclusive of people that don't look like you? So if you've been sitting in a position of power and you are not a person of color, when I talk about receipts, who have you mentored? Who have you tried to position to run and have an opportunity to be in those seats? I'm looking at your staffing, all of your staffing, not just your local staffing, but the leaders that tell you where to be, those people that you entrust the most, the folks that you kind of hang out with. If they're all looking like you, your receipts aren't adding up to me. So if you've been in a position of power and you are not a person of color, it's time for you to possibly be selfless enough to train someone so that you can give up your seat or bring a chair to the table that allows them to sit down. And then the third part of that is, if you don't want to do either of those, I will bring my own folding chair and sit down next to you and make you scoot over. So I keep saying this, stop being a cheap date. When they come and ask you for your vote, because the African-American vote matters. It matters. The Latino vote matters. The Arab American vote matters. Those votes matter. And so we don't ask enough when they come and ask us for our vote. We don't say, you know what are you offering? Sometimes we're just so flattered that we say, okay, no, enough of that now. When they come and ask, you need to be pushing back to them and saying, so what are you delivering? What are you offering? Because you need my vote. And you need me to help support you and tell other people to support you. But if you're not showing up for me consistently, I might have to let you sweat about it for a minute.
I've got some guy here.
Just real quick, I just want to add this last piece. And I'll say it a little bit different. So I think especially for us, we need to be clear in terms of how we envision our lived experience. So there's one thing to be very general. Well, I want this or to do that, but unless we have a level of specificity where we can describe to people in power how we want our lives to unfold, that's how you start to direct where the investment is. So it's one thing to be very, very general. The other thing is to be very, very specific. And to be specific, you have to know your lived experience and what you desire, but you also have to have a better understanding of the system. And I'll add this last piece, and I'll say this more selfishly from my part. Let's just talk about policing for a minute. 400-year history. I'm a student of policing history because I've studied and I teach. Northern policing, Southern policing. that for the most part was led by people that didn't look like me. So we have moved and we tried to reform, and everybody can talk about reimagining. I have another issue with that piece. But when we start to get in these positions that we have held for a very short time, when you look at the entire span, and now you want to hold that person to a standard that you didn't hold the person to before, it drives me crazy. I'm just gonna be honest. And the frustrating part for me is oftentimes it's come from people that look like me. So I don't expect a free pass. I don't want a free pass. But I want us to be smart about how we do this. And when we get in these positions, hold us accountable. I don't have any problem with you holding me accountable. But I want it done in a fair way. And I want you not to look at what we do at the local level and compare it to the stuff at the national level that we have nothing to do with. And I don't see that when I see people in positions that don't look like me. I see it a lot when we have positions of people that look like me. So we don't like to say that, but I'm just going to say that's part of it. And we have to be honest about that. And when we start being honest about that, guess what? More people that look like us will be willing to take the risk and have the courage to run for the position.
Yes, I have one question. My name is Guy Huddleston. I'm a minority vendor here in Washtenaw County. My question is, how do you monitor the nonprofit who's receiving money from the county for minority participation? How do you monitor that?
Okay, I'm trying to choose okay. So in my opinion, we do not currently have a monitoring system. Again, in my opinion, it's sort of it's like a buddies network where, it's who they know. And they're probably going to take my seat from the board table. It's, there is an alignment with certain electeds, I think. And they go hard in the paint for each other. And they're not necessarily comfortable with interruption with that. I have been asking for at least almost 2 years. First year, you're trying to figure out what the heck you're doing, right? But for at least 2 years, I've been saying, this is not working, to the point that I actually called into, this was related to a housing issue. I called in and pretended to be somebody in need. And I'm telling you right now, like 2 years later, I'm still waiting on a call back. So I am that person that will sleuth some stuff. We do not have, in my opinion, a system. And I have been insisting that we get one. That it's imperative, right? Because if I were a nonprofit and you were complaining about me within my nonprofit, it's in my best interest to just silence that. I'm not going to lift that up so that you might jeopardize the funding, right? I don't believe that we have a system. Now, if the chair wants to, weigh in on that, or Crystal want to weigh in on that, we do not have a system in place, and I'm insisting that we get one because this is taxpayers' dollars. This is not our money. And agencies shouldn't. There shouldn't be this feeling that they're entitled to something because they've been doing it. I've even gone so far, well, actually, Commissioner Lyte and I have gone so far as to say, you know what, maybe we should put out an RFP. They might not be the best just because you've been doing it for 20 years. There might be somebody else out there, but also let them know, like, every day you have to continue to do your work, right? And you should be showing up for the taxpayers that are actually giving you the money to deliver these services. So I'm not saying that we don't have wonderful partners in nonprofits, but we do. But it's like being in a 40-year marriage. You get real comfortable, right? You think it's okay to forget an anniversary or, I'm just saying. So I'm happily divorced, so I can say that.
I'll follow up real quick on that one. So to build on what the sheriff said earlier, there's a long history of how a lot of things have been done. It's similar in this example too. I think we are investing in doing evaluation of nonprofits in ways that haven't been done before. So it's been a slower process for us to get there. I think we're making progress on it, but I can't say it's perfect. But we have two outside evaluation groups that we've been contracting with for a lot of the work that we've been doing related to distributing funds to nonprofits. So I think about that with our Community Priority Fund, which was mentioned earlier, and then the New Human Services Partnership. So we're engaged in rigorous program evaluation and data collection to do better about the things that Commissioner Sanders has said.
And it wouldn't have been possible without the ARPA.
And with that, yeah.
That is what we're paying for that.
We've got time for, I think, one last question.
Hello, everyone. Stand up. I want to say thank you for the CFP funds and the opportunity as a nonprofit to come in as a young group of veterans. I know you guys got a lot of GAF and press and stuff like that. As we utilize them funds, we came up with issues like not having tools to talk to the county. Were we able to learn how to contract with the county and get in the door? The word grassroots is the word that let us in. Had it said startup, we would have had a better chance. But grassroots allowed, hey, will you be with us? Will you come over here and work with us? And we were like, no, we're gonna go for this funds. And we went for 22,000, everyone, for 2 Marines. We're the only veteran organization that did it. And now we're creating a tool to be able to speak to the county and the state, because we can send you to Hawk. And if they don't call you, now that person never wants to come back to me. In Westwell, we have no commercial space, so all of our workings have to be remote. Desiree, I don't know where she is. She's had to sit there with me, with single mothers and things of that nature, trying to find out what they would like in the RV that's coming. And we're like, it's coming. We can't move it any faster than they move. We need their funds, and they're always wondering why we're asking for funds, because like she said earlier, we need more in the homeless sector. That is for food, that is for feminine hygiene gear, all that stuff. And then we have to go to a church and say, can we store it here? That is what we deal in our municipality. I do not know the municipality over here, but ours is lack of space, lack of commercial space, lack of having buildings, lack of resources. And I just want to thank you guys. I know you guys get a lot of grief, but that is what you gave us the opportunity as young Black males, young Black women, Latinos, and everything. That's who works with us. And you're showing us that we got to kick the door down and we got to stand there no matter what happens. Thank you.
There are lots more questions, and we're going to end the meeting at noon, but everybody's going to stay, so stick around and talk.
I want to, I think, give a moment for each person to kind of make a closing statement after this thoughtful conversation. And I want to thank everyone, because I know, as a Black elected myself, so much of the decisions we make weigh on us, weigh on the history, our lived experience, the people we know that have had to benefit from any number of services. So I just thank you for being willing to step up and serve and willing to speak from the heart today. I also want to acknowledge my colleague who snuck in the back here, Cynthia Harrison. She and I are the, first, let's just say it this way. It's the first time that 2 Black city council members have served in Ann Arbor at the same time. It took till 2022, but you guys check out some of the work we're doing together. So I'd like to give everyone a second to wrap up. Maybe we start with Jimmie and kind of work our way. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. And like Desiree was saying, where she money matters, and we got a lot of dollars into Washtenaw County, and more specifically into the east side of the county, where a lot of our minority population is at. Almost $100 million into the Ypsilanti area this year alone. We're kind of blessed here in Washtenaw County as far as our state representatives and state senators are concerned, because the majority of us sit on the Appropriations Committee. Jason Morgan, Felicia Brabec, Jeff Irwin, Sue Schenck, myself. And so we're always fighting for the entire county to make sure the dollars are coming back home. I just want to highlight a couple of pieces of legislation, some policy in regards to equity. The committee I chair, Judiciary Appropriations, we put dollars in the budget last year for a transparency data center where folks can actually go online, and instead of you having to call the courts and do FOIAs, you can actually go online and look at the data on ages and demographics. What is the race of folks who are going through our court systems? Trying to have one succinct system throughout the state of Michigan, so that way you can see really what the data is saying. Also, we talk about equity, and we talk about the Crown Act is another piece of big legislation that was passed. Where no more can you discriminate against someone's hair texture, hair color, anything around their hair. And so that was a big one, led by a lot of our Black women who are elected at the state level, who led that effort. That was a big one. Fair housing discrimination. Real estate agents, when they first get their licensing, they have to take a class for fair housing discrimination, but when they renew their license, they never have to take that class again. What we did this year is say that you will have to take this class when you're getting your, when you're trying to get your license renewed. One of your credits has to be fair housing discrimination, to kind of remind you that this is a very important piece in the job that you're doing and interacting with our residents and our constituents. Juvenile justice. We passed a big package of bills supported by our county prosecutor, Ellie Savage. Juvenile justice. This is probably a package of about 19, 20 bills that was in regards to making sure that youth have legal defense and making sure that they have their, a lot of the fines and fees that are hanging over them and their families when they're going through the system. We're eliminating those. We didn't eliminate restitution. We understand that piece, and that's very important. But these fines and fees that have hung over these families and keep them in the system for so long, we eliminated those. We made sure that there's a real assessment system in place now that that's going to be standardized across the state of Michigan, where we're not just, some counties aren't just going to be locking up juveniles just for violations of curfew. We have a real assessment system that's going to be put in place, so that way those who need to be have a little more intentional intervention where they're in some of these centers, they can be there in place. But those who don't need it, we have more programming in place to make sure that they can just get the help that they need, so they don't have to be guided into our detention centers anymore. So there's a lot of things in regards to legislation and policy that matters when we're talking about equity. The last piece I'll mention is the red flag laws that we passed last year that will go into place a couple days, February 13th. A lot of our legislation takes into effect, and in regards to red flag laws, I think Rep. Brabec actually led this effort to make sure that there's a real reporting system as some of these extreme risk protection orders are filed. Is this actually affecting Black and brown people more than anyone else? And so we actually have a reporting system that's going to be in place that we can look at the data in regards to those red flag laws. And so there's a lot of things that in policy that really matter. We're talking about equity, but the money does matter as well. And so we have a lot of folks here in the county that are trying to get those dollars back into our community.
Thank you so much for having us, Chris, Theresa, everybody. It's being able to be in spaces like this. I think Justin was talking about we don't get to often have really honest dialogues like this because we have a lot coming at us that's usually negative. And so thank you for that. I was thinking about the question that you asked about how we've changed and where are we now. And I just want to paint a little picture for all of you in terms of what we face, on the House floor and at the state level. It is not uncommon and has happened that we will be lectured on CRT from white men, young white men. We will be told about slavery. That happens now. I can tell you that we have a colleague, this incident happened in my first term. And this is a colleague who I sat next to in appropriations, Republican, older white man. I would say hello to, he would never respond to me. And one day I was going over to session. I was in the elevator by myself, pinned down the elevator, only one in there. The elevator door opens, he's standing there, hello, representative, blah, blah, blah. He looks me up and down and lets the door close. Right? This is who we serve with currently in some respects. Our vote matters as much as theirs. And so that means that we have to have more folks who share our values there. We have to have that. And so these conversations are so important and vital. And being able to encourage more folks who look like us to run and to be at those tables are really important. And to that end, in addition to what Jimmie was saying about our appropriations, in the Senate, we're led in appropriations by a Black woman. That matters. Sarah Anthony is amazing. And she has been able to, they call it the principles, right? When all the folks meet, they make the final decisions. I will often call Sarah and be like, hey, we really need this in there. And she's like, I got you. Right? I mean, to be able to have an ally in that room matters. And we were able to do things, and I mentioned this before, but like $72 million additional dollars to indigent defense, $10 million to minority-owned businesses, $30 million for Highland Park for their settlement that they needed to have. I mean, in addition to the things that we talked about, these things matter. And I feel like the onus is on all of us to make the conditions better for folks to sit in the seats that we are lucky enough to sit in. No, thanks again for letting me be here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I would echo my colleagues in terms of saying thank you for hosting this forum and letting us be here. We're in the present, we're standing on the shoulders of other folks. So Mayor Wheeler from Ann Arbor from years ago, and Honorable Smith and Conan Smith, and folks like Superior Supervisor and State Rep David Rutledge, and folks like my friend in the back, Roger Green. A number of folks that occupied these seats. And I'll just say how I've always believed this. We can't get to occupy the seat like everybody else does. The margin for error is smaller. The criticism is more intense, but that's okay. Because what I always say is if you didn't want that heat, then you shouldn't have run. And if you're more worried about your next election than you are presently serving, then you're in for the wrong reason. So that's how we should serve. And all of these things I think are really, really important. I'll take one point of privilege and say thank you to my wife who's sitting in the back quietly. That's had to deal with all the things that we've dealt with. I'm in my last term, my last year. So when I reflect back to where we were in 2009 versus where we are now, I think we've made improvement because we were willing to have the courage to challenge certain things. And what I hope we do is set an example for that next generation, because that next generation's here, that next generation's watching. So it's not just what we do, it's how we do it and how we talk about it and how we have the courage to make changes that we envision into the future. I'll end with this. People keep talking about reimagining. Derek knows how I feel about this. And I'm just going to talk about it in the space I argue. This reimagining policing. And I remember what they talked about from the national level. They came to Washtenaw County. I thought it was funny. That's what we mean, reimagine. We've been doing this for a decade. We don't reimagine, we envision. We envision a different outcome for people in Washtenaw County, and we realized a lot of that. The next generation, the folks that will follow us, has a more expanded vision, and it's our responsibility to give them the support, the encouragement, and the motivation to seek these offices, hold them with integrity and honesty and courage, so we continue to change the life experience for everyone. Thank you.
Hello. So first, I like to give people their flowers when they're still able to receive them. So what we didn't really be clear about is I am sitting next to the longest running African-American sheriff in this county. And that is something to be proud of. And I'm proud of all of the initiatives that he has brought and for the reputation that he has nationally and internationally. And we should be celebrating that. I also want to acknowledge, there's a young lady here in our audience that is the chair of the Washtenaw County Roads Commission, who, before I said that I would run, let me talk her ear off. We closed down the Washtenaw County Golf Club. And I mean, they literally put us out. And she continued the conversation with me the next day and then connected me to Patricia Scribner. Those are two women that don't look like me that were the ones asking me to run for this position. And they used their leverage to vouch for this unknown. And so I just want to recognize that we're not in this by ourselves. For me, equity means, of course, I'm going to support people that look like me. Of course. But that does not mean that I ignore anyone else. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is that you will see me everywhere, not just in my district. I'm on the west side of the county. I'm on the east side of the county. I like to say I kind of put my finger in everybody's Kool-Aid. And that's what I think you need to do in my position in order to really be aware of what the needs are for our entire county. So I like to remind people that I am elected by my district, but I am sworn in to serve the residents of Washtenaw County. And so if we could, start to practice a little bit better, that sometimes your ask doesn't supersede the need of someone else. And sometimes, you need to be willing to take a back seat and say, they've been in line longer than I have. That, I think, is one of the ways that you show how you show up and you show that equity is important. It's not, and I want to be clear, when you say equity, most people automatically by default go to just black and white. They don't talk about equity in terms of financial, social, economic. They don't think about that. They just make it be either black or white. And it's not just black or white. It's access, it's education, it's all of those things. And so I would like for us to get a little bit more comfortable with that. And I would say publicly, I appreciate having people like Barb Fuller and Patricia Scribner and Brenda McKinney in my corner and allowing me to have frank conversations with them and not have them walk away acting like they're offended because I'm talking about my truth and the truth of other people that I'm representing. So in this sort of arena of being public servants, because that's what we are, we're public servants, we need to be allowed to have frank conversations and for people to be able to have frank conversations respectfully back with us without being offended, that we're not using the exact verbiage they think we should use, because there are things that we see and have to deal with that you don't see, right? And we're elected to deal with it on your behalf. So trust us, come to us. And, occasionally it would be so nice if somebody said to me, how can we help you?
Well, thank everyone for coming out and allowing us to share our experiences with you and to just allow us to be open. I am still so amazed that I am a county commissioner, considering the district that I commissioned over, I just want to give a shout out to District 2 because they are amazing for allowing a Black woman to come in and for them to entrust me on our side in our rural area. It's very rural. I love farming, land preservation. I just want y'all to know. So I am advocating for our farmers and for land preservation. And so our legislators will be hearing from us a lot. But as Commissioner Sanders was saying, we need to reach back to before. I can say that she encouraged me to run for commissioner because I was always saying, oh, I want to do this. I need to do this. In the capacity that I worked for, I couldn't do it. And so she said, well, quit talking about it and quit complaining about it and do something about it. And so she ran for commissioner. I'm like, okay, I'm running around here looking at her do all of these things. I can do that as well. And so just by her showing me all of the things that she did and that she was out in the community and having me to ride along, and I'm still riding along, and we're everywhere in all of the places and spaces, and I love it. And so that encouraged me to say, you know what, if I show up in my community, all of my childhood friends, my high school friends, my church, the community, Ypsilanti as itself, because this is where I grew up, this is where I've been, it will encourage them to vote. I had more friends to say, hey, what am I voting for? What is this? And that was my leadway to say, oh, let's have a conversation, because nobody wants to talk politics. I was always like, oh, nobody wants to talk to me. But being that I ran for commissioner, like, well, we got to know what we're voting for. And that led to saying, well, we can find out what kind of president do we want, because we're the ones that have to vote so that we can have a president to serve us. So with all of that, I'm just glad that I'm able to be part of the Board of Commissioners to provide my perspective and to give my life experiences and to assist as best as I can and to advocate for all. And so I'm just elated and I'm glad, and I'm running again, and I'm working for our community and for our county. And I'm not just here for District 2, I'm here for Washtenaw. And I'm here for not just constituents and not just my BOC, but for all. So I look forward to 4 more years.
Well, to start off, thank you to Kathy and the programs committee team for putting this together. It's these panels don't come together easily. A lot of work goes into it. So big thank you to both of you, the whole team. And thank you to Chris for being a fantastic moderator. If the panel hadn't been state and county focused, Chris would have been up here talking about a lot of the fantastic work that he's doing in the city of Ann Arbor. So hopefully we have another chance to talk about that at another time. I would say that let's not keep the conversation about equity focused on Black History Month, right? We need to continue this for every month after this, because all the initiatives that we talked about, it's going to continue to take a lot of effort from everybody sitting up here and all of you to keep driving those forward and be able to continue to maintain and push even further on that. And so to that, I say that this exercise in government is all of us up here and all of you working together to co-create the government that we want to have and one that works for everybody. So as has been said, if we need all of your support, just like you need all of us to be working on your behalf. So it really is a team effort. So if you like what we talked about, I think that's the music coming off. If you like what we talked about here, stay in touch with us so we can continue working together to make Washtenaw County a place where everybody has the opportunity to thrive and be successful.
Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out, for participating in this conversation. And I'll hand it off to Chair Reid.
Thank you so much. You've got a ton to cover real quick. Thanks to all of you guys. And I want to reiterate what you've heard a few times, that, they work so hard, and a little thank you goes a long way. And also just anticipating that they're kind people and they're working hard for you, right? So approach them with all love and respect. Next month, actually, we're doing a program. The first half of the program is going to be about how to get elected in certain places, or how to serve your community and get involved on towns, on boards and commissions, where you just raise your hand and you can get involved. There are several township boards in townships that vote blue that are all red, largely because the township boards, Democrats aren't running for those seats. So we'll talk about how to run for those seats, right? And how to win those seats in those blue townships. And the last thing I want to say, I know there's more I wanted to say, but Eli Nathan is the program committee co-chair who's made so much of this happen. Thank you to Ray Ann Weymouth for bringing homemade treats, including vegan pumpkin cookies. Thank you so much. And Jim Russo, our technical genius who makes it all happen. Thank you, Jim, every time. And I know I'm forgetting something. March 10th, literacy conference at thank you, WCC 2 to 4, I think, in the afternoon. But Kathy, is that right? 1 to 5. Thanks. County Family Literacy Initiative Campaign Kickoff. 1 to 5 at WCC. Right to read.
There's no cost. It is want the public to come to learn that there is a crisis in Washington. Even though Ann Arbor is an educated city in the country, that is not what we want to have. There are kids stripping, there are adults stripping. Learn about it, learn what to support. Come out on March 10th.
If you
this is, Black History Month, and literacy reading is a civil rights issue.
Absolutely.
Care about Black lives, we gotta care about Black children and other things. That's right.
Absolutely. 100%. And if you have not signed up for for our news, sign up for the news, because that's how you get all of this information about what's coming, the volunteer appreciation event on March 17th, that and other neighboring events. It's right on the landing page, washtenaw.org. Subscribe to the newsletter. We only trouble you once a week. So go for it. Thanks, everybody. I'm calling this meeting to an end. Thanks, everybody online. Great to see you.